What's up, guys? Tuesday morning, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5:30 a.m. for Russ. We are Dual Coast
Let's go.
Podcast. Russ, how you feeling this morning? Feeling good?
Oh man, I got to bed at a good hour last night. So I'm rocking about 6.5 hours, man.
Okay.
And if I'm getting 6.5 hours, I'm feeling golden. I'm feeling golden.
I agree with
When I
that
get down to the 5 range, then I'm not so golden.
for sure. That's actually a good segue. We should actually do a sleep episode. That's actually a good idea.
We
We haven't got
definitely need to on
we haven't gotten to
wellness.
that yet.
Yeah. Wellness is about more sleep.
That's exactly right. That's
But
exactly
it
right.
is a great stat,
Oh,
you
it's an
know?
amazing statistic. Yeah, for sure.
Yes. On
For
on
sure.
sleep management, man,
Sleep
because
management, sleep deprivation. Yeah.
yeah, feeling good. How about you, bud?
I'm all good, man. I'm all good. We're we're live. We're feeling good.
This is
We're gonna
amazing, man. Dude, we're like 9 episodes in.
This is episode 9, guys. I didn't introduce that to start, but this is episode 9 for us. We're a couple of months deep now, and I mean, I think we've improved. Russ, you say we've improved?
Well, you have, certainly.
For sure, I'll take that.
I enjoy every Tuesday morning, man. I love
100%.
it. I love getting up. I love getting up early, a little extra early. Usually I'm a 5:30 a.m. riser, but now I'm
Right,
like at 4:30 to 4:45 on Tuesdays.
right.
But I feel good, man. I wake up and it's black outside. I can still hear the ocean waves, but as long as I get to bed at a decent time,
Yeah,
it's a great start to my Tuesdays.
it's great.
And
That's all it
all of
is.
the guests that we have been epic. We got Jordan Mendoza next week.
Yeah,
And we're going to continue this conversation on obesity.
for
and
sure.
and Jordan has lost 60 pounds,
Yeah,
and he's going to come on and he's going to talk about how he has naturally done it, and how he's kept it off. And so I'm
yeah,
looking forward to next week. So that's going to be a good talk.
yeah, guys. We got a great guest coming up. Today, we're going to continue our talk with obesity and about obesity. And, me and Russ were talking a little bit about it before, and most people don't really know how they classify obesity or what obesity actually is or the statistical breakdown of obesity. So I was going to get into a little bit about the definition. So what is obesity? So obesity pretty much is a disorder that involves having too much body fat or excess body fat that creates a possibility for underlying health issues. And how do they classify that? How do they say you have too much fat or you have excess fat? They use what's called a BMI index. I'm sure a lot of our guests or listeners have heard of BMI index. That's body mass index. There's certain measurements that they can take actually of each part of your body. And what they could do is they put into a formula pretty much. So that formula is your weight in kilograms divided by your height in meters squared. So that whole breakdown of all these caliper measurements goes into a specific formula. It gets calculated into a number and it gets classified. Now, that classification is pretty much a breakdown of percentage. So women being greater than 25% and men being greater than flip-flop my numbers. Women being greater than 30% and men being greater than 25% is classified as obesity after that whole breakdown, that statistical analysis, and all those caliper confirmation numbers. They have different ways they could do it, different modalities also. I think the most classic one is specific measurements of each part of the body, but they could also do like hydrostatic weighing and things of that nature where they could actually submerge you into a water and they do specific measurements via the water. But I think the most classic thing that most fitness individuals, gyms, and personal trainers and nutritionists do is actually just a caliper measurement of specific parts of the body. They take all that, they put it into that analysis, and they do a breakdown, and they see where you're at or where you fall. Russ, I'll kick it over to you real quick. What do you think? What do you think about that whole breakdown? What's your take?
My take is this: is that, and I'll talk from a
Sure.
personal, standpoint. Personal standpoint is that when I was growing up, I was always a bigger kid. I grew up really fast, and I was a thicker body type,
Yeah.
broader shoulders, thicker legs, and I have been my entire life. I have never been what we call a string bean or somebody that's skinny. You know what I
Right.
mean? I have to work, and especially now at 57, I've got to work really hard to be what I am.
For
Now,
sure.
I'm sure that my body fat, my body type is probably higher,
Uh-huh.
than probably what I want it to be.
Uh-huh.
But I'm happy with where I'm at.
Yeah.
Yes, would I like to be a little thinner? Maybe a few pounds, but it's really feeling good about where I am,
Sure.
right? And I'm the kind of person, like if I get anything over that waistline, where the body fat's going to go up, like I feel
I think
like
about it, right?
I don't feel good.
Yeah,
I
for sure.
don't feel good. And so, there may be just, because pretty much all guys, except for those are the hardcore guys, right?
Yeah.
Pretty much all guys are, as they age, are going to have this little, belly roll at the, but I work really hard at trying to keep, that index, whatever my index is, I try to keep that down.
Yeah,
But
for
it's
sure.
really based on how I look and how I feel. Does that
Yes.
make sense?
Yeah.
So, not coming from a doctor's, perspective, but just from your everyday person, that for me is how I feel. And
Yeah.
I feel for people who carry a lot of extra weight. Now, genetically, we know that some people genetically are just born, with heavier, but they
Yeah.
still have the ability to lose some of that.
Sure.
Some have
Sure.
bigger legs, some have bigger calves, bigger
Yeah.
ankles.
Yeah.
And I feel bad for those people that have that carry that weight, that are going to have a more difficult time than somebody that genetically was born with a leaner, physique, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Body type. So, from a personal standpoint, it's really what I want to look like and really how I want to feel.
Yeah, exactly. I think we see that a lot actually, and people always tie in genetics to a genetic predisposition. You know, I had the same kind of body type as you, honestly. I wasn't like, a skinny guy by any means. I was actually a little bit overweight and like, I would say middle school going into high school type of thing,
Yeah.
maybe 14, 15 years old. Then I started in high school, really started working out and getting the weight off. And then mentally I felt better. And that's why I continued that actually from high school to, being 36 years old today. And but I have noticed, like you said, as you start to get a little bit older, you do start to have to maintain harder and harder and harder. When I was younger, it was a lot easier to maintain. I could,
Yes.
cheat a little bit more on the diet, not work out as hard, things like that. Now it's become more difficult, and you have to train harder and watch your diet way hard, way more,
Wait. Yeah. hundred
without a
percent.
doubt. Without a doubt. I mean, there's no combating that, obviously, as you get older, but you try to do the best you can. And as I think what you just said actually hits a big standpoint. Like it actually, you feel better if you, so long as you feel better from that mental aspect and you feel good about yourself and you're in that realm where you're okay with it, like type of thing, and you feel good. I think that's the most important thing. You know, the classifications are great and the BMI index is all great and everything like that, but it doesn't take into account like how you feel
Yes.
simultaneously. A lot of it doesn't account for, muscle mass and things of that nature. It's good statistical analysis and it's good numbers, but at the same time, it doesn't take into account the mental aspect of things. Somebody who was 400 pounds, who is now
Mhm.
down to, let's say, 300 pounds, they would probably still be classified as obese, but they are probably feeling way better and they could probably continue to keep going to losing that weight.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I mean, they may feel good at 300 pounds. They probably felt terrible at 400. They may feel, and people who are 200 may feel great at 180 type of thing.
Yeah.
So, I
Yeah.
mean,
I have a
it's all relative.
buddy. I have a buddy who purposely lost 40 pounds.
Yeah.
And he said, being over in Hawaii, you don't want to be fat. Like when you're laying on the beach, you don't want to be fat. Now he weighed 300 pounds,
Okay.
and he specifically started eating better, not eating late at night, eating less per
Yeah.
meal,
Yeah.
which he said was very difficult. But he and his wife both did it, and he lost 40 pounds. And he started walking daily. He was more or less like a 2 to 3 day walker.
Yeah.
That's not going to get it done, right? And so he started doing it. He's got a hill that leads up to his house. So he's climbing that. He does about a mile and a half, but he's
Sure.
doing it every day. And I told him one day, I said, dude, after losing 40 pounds, I said, I want to see you put 40 pounds into a backpack. And I want you to feel what it was like
Yeah.
carrying that extra 40 pounds. He's now around 260, right? And he's never done it, but I was just trying to encourage him to do it, because to feel that and to maybe motivate him to, to do another 10,
Sure.
and as you go, as your body gets leaner, it gets harder, right?
Right.
It
Right.
gets harder to lose those pounds. The first 10, 15 pounds, man, they're just dropping like this. And then all of a sudden, it's like everything starts to slow down.
For
And it's
sure.
a pound here and a pound there,
For
right?
sure.
But it's
For sure.
discipline. It's discipline.
That's pretty much what it comes down to, honestly. Like you just said, that 2 to 3 day walk may not do it. It may help in the beginning. It definitely will help you get in that focused attitude, so to speak,
Yeah,
to keep you going. But it's not going to actually play a large role unless it's, obviously very long distances. I'm sure that would, but it's not going to play a large role in getting you to that goal. And like you said just now, like he had that mental fortitude when he was laying on the beach. He's like, I don't want to look this way.
exactly.
So, and then from there, he was able to drive himself. And I think that's like we try to hit this standpoint almost every week when me and you talk. It's like how do you make that how do you get that motivation? How do you take that step and stuff like that?
Yeah,
For him, that was that step. He was looking on the beach. He was saying, I don't like the way I feel. I don't like the way I look. I got to do something.
yeah,
And
yeah.
then he,
Yeah, his terminology, I don't want to be fat in Hawaii.
right, for real. And I'm
You
sure
know?
that's probably, I've never been to Hawaii, but I'm sure that's probably true.
You know, he goes, I don't want to be fat in Hawaii. And, and so, yeah, each time he goes, so he just went, a couple of months ago and he was at, right around 260
Yeah.
and, he's still got a gut, but it's not nearly what it was. And, he just feels better about himself, his face is slimmer. You can
Yep.
see it through his shoulders. You can definitely see the reduction size, in his gut.
Yeah.
And, he just feels better because why? He's eating less, he's eating right, and he's working out more. And
Yeah.
he doesn't work out. Like he doesn't lift weights. He just walks. That's
Yeah.
all he does is walk.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
it can be done. And probably
Right.
Jordan is probably going to tell us a lot more from a personal experience
Yeah.
next week, dropping
Without a
60
doubt.
pounds.
Yeah, without a doubt. Definitely a personal standpoint. It'd be great to hear that story from how he did it and how he focused his energy. Was it diet? Was it walking? Was it weights? Was it the gym? Was it, jumping ropes,
Yes.
whatever.
Right.
But yeah, everybody's probably going to do it a little bit differently too. Some people are going to walk,
100%.
some people are going to do that yoga, some people are going to do, running, jump rope, whatever it be, cardiovascularly.
Yeah.
And I think he just was able to take that motivational step saying, I don't want to, I think he probably gained some onus of the idea that, he was heavy and he doesn't want people to see him in that regard while he was on vacation. So
Yeah.
that created that motivation for him. So some people need to develop that motivation out of different ways. Like, okay, I don't want to be on the beach and look this way. I don't want to be at this event and look this way. I don't want to be at my high school reunion and look this way.
Right.
I guess that's how people kind of, you could set a goal from that aspect, saying, okay, I got this wedding in 6 months. I got to do something now. I got this wedding in a year. I got to do something now. So like, you could kind of take on the responsibility.
Yeah.
Once you see that event, once you see that coming up, I feel like that's a good motivational aspect for people, vacations, events, things like that. You agree?
Well, it's fun. Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that because same person also said one of his daughters is getting married in October.
Yeah.
I mean, he goes, dude, I don't want to look fat in my photos. So his goal is to get to 50 total pounds lost, right? He wants to be at 250, and he's about 6'2".
That's awesome.
So another 10 pounds, he's gonna look fantastic.
Yeah.
For his body size, right?
Yeah.
I mean, yes, could he lose more? Absolutely. But I think 10 more pounds, he's gonna feel absolutely amazing. And he used to huff and puff. I would do a lot of work at his house, with landscaping and stuff. And
Yeah.
dude, he wouldn't last 15 minutes.
Really?
Yeah. And now, he's in the yard, he's working in the yard and all the time. And so it's, good for him, and
awesome.
there's a lot of people out there that are just like him.
For sure.
Just like him. And
Sure.
the thing that I want to encourage people with is you can do it. And you don't need to go on any of these things that you see in commercials and everything. You can, by discipline and willpower, it's a mindset thing to overcome obesity. So if you're struggling out there and let's just say you want to just, drop 20 pounds or really just more of a physical, standpoint. You just want to feel better about yourself. And the word diet, people, I don't like the word diet. You know what I mean? I just want to feel better.
I agree.
You know, I want to be able to move. I want to be able to walk. I want to be able to run. I want to play basketball or, golf or whatever it is.
Yeah,
I just want to be able to move.
I agree with
Right.
you. 100%.
And so, in feeling that it makes a huge difference, in your mindset on a daily basis.
No, 100%. I totally agree with you. And I think I think once you start to lose a little bit of that weight, you could kind of get that motivational aspect into you. And you said it's a matter of starting and how you do it. I think like he did it is actually pretty wise. He started cutting the the caloric intake down at each meal. Even if you don't change the way you eat to start, if you just
Mm,
start eating a little bit less, which is obviously difficult for a lot of people,
it is.
it's not an easy thing to accomplish, but I think that's a good starting point for a lot of people. You start eating a little
Yes.
bit less, then you start eating a little bit healthier, then you start to implement the exercise, then you start to implement this and implement that, and just keep going and going and going. And that's probably how he started too. He
Yes.
does the walking. He started a little bit of decreased caloric intake and then just went from there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think
And,
that's
and, just like we hit on a couple of times, 2 to 3 weeks is not enough. And
for sure.
especially, when I check in with you in 20 years, you're going to find that, things have slowed even more than they were at 36. Right.
Hopefully we're still doing this.
Yeah. So, the thing about it is, it's like, it's just like, on a daily grind, for me to feel good about my being and who I am, I have to move daily. If I get out and I can walk a mile to a mile and a half every day, if I do my exercise, if I get out on the beach, if I'm playing volleyball, I feel a lot better.
Yeah.
And the less that you eat at night, I have a friend that also struggles with potato chips. Just the love of potato chips at night after dinner meals,
Interesting.
right? Snacks. And
Interesting.
so, it's that late night eating after 6 p.m.,
For sure.
right? That is really a killer for a lot of people,
For sure. For
more
sure.
ways than one.
Yeah, 100% true. Like, even I work in the hospital and I work late shifts sometimes and I try to, when I come home, I'm hungry. It's
Yeah.
late. It's 8:30, it's 9 o'clock and stuff like that. And sometimes it's hard after a long day to get into that mode of, I want to eat something clean or something healthy. It's difficult to come into that mindset sometimes.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I think dinner is probably where people eat the worst, I would say, out of the meal
Yeah.
of the day. Usually people can eat like a decently healthy breakfast or a decently healthy lunch, but I think dinner is where most people, they try to
Gorge.
feel that satiation. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Exactly. And to portion control at that time and stuff like that, it's difficult. But I do agree with you 100% that late night eating is probably one of the biggest combaters to, weight loss is in general, honestly, is that late night eating and those late night cravings and the snacking too.
Yeah.
I think a lot of those, because let's be real, most people do not eat healthy snacks. I would say a very high percentage of people are not eating carrots as a snack or, apples as a snack. Most people
Right.
after dinner are eating chips, ice cream, cookies, cake, X, Y, and Z.
Yes.
And I think from there, that's probably one of the biggest contributors to obesity or weight gain is that the snacking, the late night eating, the poor dietary habits during the day. People who don't eat, like sometimes me, I don't eat from like 12 to 6 because I'm in the hospital, I'm running around, things like that. And people will be like, oh, that's great intermittent fasting. But, you know, by the time I get home, I'm starving. So,
Yes.
I think it's better off to eat, smaller meals throughout the day and keep yourself going. That way you don't have to eat those late night snacks, those late night meals and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, it's eating right and being able to control,
for sure.
right? It's, you know, uh, what is the word? Moderation,
Moderation.
right?
Yeah.
So, eating in moderation, like, just the thing about it is just don't gorge at
Yeah.
these meals,
Yeah.
and just wean yourself from some of these late night fatty things,
For sure.
right? Maybe in moderation, you do a little bit of that and a little bit of the carrots and a little bit of the
Yeah.
apple, and just really, it's up here. It's up here
It's mental. For sure.
because I used to be a 3 meal a day guy, and when I started cutting back, it really is right up here because your body says, oh, feed me, feed me, feed, because it's used to being fed. But in
Yeah.
your mind you got to say, dude, enough's enough, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. For sure.
In moderation,
For
man, cut
sure.
it back, but it is a battle.
Yeah, it's a battle for sure. And I think a lot of it, like you're saying, is mental too. It's not just that you know, you get home and you're like, oh, I'm starving. You have to have that mental fortitude to be like, okay, I should not eat this. I should not eat that. The fact that you're starving, plays a huge role in that, obviously, because people are like, oh, I'll eat anything right now. I'll go to McDonald's right now. I'm starving, you know. But you have
Yeah.
to have that mental fortitude to say, like, okay, I have to restrain myself. I have to hold back a little bit here. I have to try to concentrate on this. I have this goal in mind. How do I get to it? Eating that's not going to help me.
Yeah.
You know, so you have to set that mental goal at the same time, I think. Like, not to say this is easy, guys. I'm not saying this is an easy thing to do.
It's
I'm
not
just saying
easy.
it's a very difficult thing to do, honestly.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's the only way to make progress. And, you know, me and Russ, we talk about progress every week in different, you know, ways, shapes, and forms. This is
Yes.
another way to make progress, is to set those mental goals, keep the physical aspect, set the physical goals, keep the mental aspect.
Yeah.
And not to say it's easy, like, you know, we say, but, you know, it's something that you have to try to focus on as best you can.
Yeah.
And like Russ said, moderation is key. You can still allow yourself to eat certain things. Of course, everybody does that. Everybody's going to have that slice of pizza. Everybody's going to have that, you know, ice cream here and there, but moderation is key. You give
Yeah.
yourself maybe like the meal a week or the 2 meals a week, or even if you're starting out, maybe give yourself a couple meals a week and then start to cut them down as passes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think having the mental fortitude to get through it is the hardest part for sure.
Yeah. So if we could name 3 things for people today, 3 to 5 things, you know, of
Okay.
what people can do, to steps, you know, before we close the show.
Okay.
What are some specific steps that people can take, right? And I would say definitely balanced diet,
For sure.
right? So
For sure.
we take balanced diet, we take, you know, moderation, right?
Sure.
Is really trying to, you know, maybe it's food prep. Maybe if you could food prep for a few days, right? Try something different. Food prepping. Go to the store, go to Trader Joe's, Whole Foods, buy, you know, some good food, and do your diet for, you know, 3 days, your meal prep for 3 days,
Yep.
right?
Meal prep is key. The other thing is journal it. Write down
Yeah.
what you want to eat, or write
Yeah.
down certain things that you can make for the week. So if you journal it down, write down, like I do sometimes on like a Sunday, I'll write down, okay, I'm going to do this on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and write down those meals. And that way, when you look back at the paper, you say, okay, I'm supposed to be eating these meals. It gives you the mental aspect of things, of looking at that. Okay, I wrote these down. I'm going to eat these meals, as opposed to being like, okay, what am I going to eat tonight?
Yeah.
When you get home, then you could go off the rails very easily. If you look at that paper and say, okay, I'm supposed to be eating this and this and this, I think it's much easier to have that, you know, in front of you than as opposed to try to wing it every time. And then you
Yeah.
end up, you know, falling off, in my opinion.
Sure. I think sleeping
Yeah.
is huge,
Yep.
and you know, getting proper rest is
Yep.
very, very important. Sometimes, not every day, but sometimes, you know, I'll get sleepy in the afternoon. You know, and
For sure.
I'm not a big lunch eater. I usually do a chicken salad, so it's not heavy on me. So I feel like I need to sleep after that. But sometimes I just need to close my eyes and I'll do like a 10-minute power nap. You know, and I know some people struggle with falling asleep. You know,
Yeah.
but you know, for me, I don't have that problem, and I could do a 10-minute power nap, wake up, and I feel amazing the rest of the day. You know,
Yep.
so proper sleeping habits, trying
Yep.
to, you know, find ways that you can sleep better. You know, doing things that you may need, because people do struggle with sleeping. And
Sure.
so, you know, I think that finding ways that you can sleep better, but then also in addition to that, as we all know, is a consistent diet of exercise. And I use that word diet again, but it's, you know, it's really a commitment to getting out and moving every day. What is that? Some
Yeah.
people have a problem. They can't run. You know, I don't like to run, right?
Yeah.
I'll love to bike. I love to play beach volleyball. Walking is super, super healthy.
Yeah.
And, you know, for those people that have that struggle with walking, at least start and get some steps in at whatever pace you can. But really, the goal is to get the heart rate up.
Yeah.
So, you know, getting a faster pace, you know, but you just can't get out and just start. But for some people that are doing it, just try to increase the heart rate in your
Yeah.
walking and in your moving.
Yeah. You just do a low impact, steady state exercise, guys. Like Russ is saying, just get out there and just take a walk. You know, like we just talked about, journal a little bit of what you're going to eat, journal a little bit of what you're actually eating, so you could see actually, you know, where you're making your mistakes. If you're eating a bunch of cake every night, or you're eating a bunch of cookies every night, you could actually see it written down and saying like, wow, I'm actually eating this every single night.
Yeah.
You know, you could see it. You could take the, you know, you could have that mental fortitude to be like, okay, wow, I see what I'm eating. A little bit of exercise. And I think what we talked about before too, that decreasing the portion size is big too. the
Huge.
caloric intake each time. I think even if you're eating maybe meals that are even not so nutritious, for a lack of better words, or healthy, if you just decrease the caloric intake on each of those meals and eat less of it, I think that would still help you.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great talk today, man.
Yeah. That was
Great
awesome, man.
talk.
I'll tell you what, we're going to close it out. We're going to land the plane, but I'm just going to hit Russ with a quick stat here, real quick, Russ.
Okay. Let's go. Hit me.
I'm going to hit you. So obesity is actually the leading contributor to preventable deaths, and it contributes an estimated 300,000 premature deaths in the United States each year due to links with heart disease, stroke, diabetes, and cancer. So that's 300,000 preventable deaths per year that are related to obesity itself, causing some sort of health issue in people who have the disease. What's your take on that?
I got one word.
Oh,
move.
I knew you were going to say that.
You hit me. Boom. I come back with the right hand. People that are listening, you've got to get out and move. I'm telling you, if you move your body, it is going to do wonders to not only your body, but into your mindset, because it's all related into what we're doing. Anything and everything has to do with movement of your body.
For sure.
The more you move, the less you want to feed it all of these fatty foods. Because why? Because you're starting to feel better. Your heart rate increases. But 300,000 preventable deaths. Think about that, right? I think America is like the leading candidate for obesity in the world, the country.
Yeah.
And so, us being, the fattiest people. So when we talk about, doing this podcast months and months ago, we talked about, what is it? Where do we want to go? Because you being in there in the hospital rooms and in the surgery center, you see this all the time, right? Sure. This is your daily life.
100%.
For me, I'm looking, I'm talking, I'm speaking to people, speaking to kids at schools on movement and the importance of it. And so, it's a huge pill to swallow, right?
Sure.
It's a huge pill to swallow, but we're just doing our part to help in any way that we can for anybody that's listening or anybody that wants to move this on to somebody else that may be struggling with obesity. Say, hey, check this episode out, because, these guys are providing some good information. They're encouraging, they're inspiring. Check out Dual Coast, because, they're doing a good job as far as encouraging people.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Ross, I'll let you land the plane for us.
Wellness is not about perfection. It's about progress. And you know what? We ask each of our guests every week, what do you think about this? And nobody is perfect. Nobody's perfect. When we go to if you go to the gym or you look at people outside or you're passing people in the grocery store, you're going to see fit people all the time.
For sure.
But the largest percentage of people that you're going to see are people who are obese or struggling with weight.
Without doubt.
And so, the most important thing is, don't try to be perfect in your daily living. Try to have progress in your life. It's daily steps of progress.
That's right. All right, guys. Dual Coast Podcast, episode 9. We're signing off. Guys, check us out next week, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We're going to have a great guest. It's going to tie into this conversation to a very high degree. He's going to talk about his weight loss journey. It's going to tie into obesity very well. Follow us, Dual Coast Podcast, on Instagram, X, TikTok, Facebook. Guys, listen to us. We're on Spotify, Amazon Music, YouTube. Check us out. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'll see you guys next week.
Awesome. Be encouraged.
Be encouraged.
Yeah.